people were like, "What are you doing?" As friends of mine that I grew up with in Hawaii were like, "You doing a sock company?" Like,
Yeah.
You're crazy.
Yeah. Except Einstein, right? I don't think he wore socks. Or am I tripping?
Thank you guys for tuning in. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Seager Storytime. We're your hosts, Mattson, Case, and Elliott, and we're the co-founders of Seager Company.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having
me. You go
me.
by Kingman?
Welcome.
Most people call my wife calls me Kingman.
Whoa.
I don't know. My actual legal name is Frederick Ryan Kingman.
Whoa.
Nobody calls me Ryan except
Freddie.
Yeah,
Frederick.
Freddie. I know. It's so, but
That's
people
sick.
hear it and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna call you Frederick," and then it
You're
just
like, no,
fades.
do not call me that.
So Kingman. It's weird though to say like, "Oh, hey, I'm Kingman," but I'm just most people call me that.
Yeah.
I worked at a place where there was a bunch of Ryans previously, and
yeah.
we all
Yeah,
went
that
by our
sounds-
last names.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it stuck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My grandma's maiden name is Kingman.
No way.
Whoa.
Really?
Yeah, we might be related at some point.
That'd be
Be awesome.
crazy.
Yeah.
What a
I don't know.
trip.
I know, right?
23andMe.
Brother.
Yeah.
Where's your family lineage from?
Maine and then Hawaii.
Whoa. The two
yeah.
opposite corners.
Yeah, they all came from Maine and then transplanted over to Hawaii.
That's a good move.
And then on my mom's side was in Minnesota. They all sound like that show Fargo.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey there, Ryan.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
cool.
love that accent,
oh,
though.
Geez, oh, God. I love
That's
it.
awesome.
You got that Minnesota facial hair too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick. Your whole upper lip, your whole mouth's gone. It's awesome.
Yeah, just freaking dusts right over it.
Yeah, I got to get that.
I had to get a comb.
You
just
drink
for
like
the
a
mustache.
cappuccino and just
Oh,
it's all
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just dripping everywhere.
I was thinking cereal. That was my first thought. Like, that's got to be
You can
hard.
bypass that with the spoon, you know. You
No,
because
because it's just
It still
smacking
gets
it.
gets everywhere.
Yeah,
I got to
yeah.
trim it up because it's kind of obnoxious and it's like
but it looks cool.
It's epic, yeah.
When you trim it, do you just trim the bottom and get it?
I haven't really trimmed it. I'm kind of like a little
Yeah.
nervous because I don't want to fuck it up.
Mine goes everywhere when I grow it out. Like, it just starts getting bad. I wish it just grew down. Mine
I
doesn't do
think
that.
mine would look actually just like yours.
Yeah?
'Cause mine goes downwards. Yeah.
Do it.
I'm going to try it out.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
It's weird. I see pictures of myself without it, and I'm like, ugh. I don't know. It's just I need
Yeah.
Right.
something, I guess.
Yeah. We all agree. I mean, we're all here. Look at us.
Yeah, it's
There's
part of
four
our
dudes.
identities. Mustache bros.
I remember
straight up.
one of the things I regret most in my life was Case had a beard for a while, and he came into we shared a room at this time in the warehouse, our old warehouse, and he came into the room after he shaved, and I immediately told him that he looked like a naked mole rat. I still feel really bad about that because it's mean.
I know.
But you
I haven't shaved since.
But it was, you have to say, you look like you shrunk in your clothes.
Yeah.
Like, he looked smaller, significantly
instantly
smaller.
just looked like I was 16 again.
Yeah. You
How
look
big
like a
was it?
child.
Was it like a
I
pretty girthy?
usually keep it around here. Like
Yeah, it's probably
maybe
about that.
sometimes it gets like this, but I never go bigger than that.
Yeah.
But maybe I will one day.
I had a pretty good red beard, and then, but I'd wear a motorcycle, or I'd ride a motorcycle on a helmet, and it would make this weird crease in my beard.
Whoa.
On the helmet.
oh, like when you took it
Yeah.
off, you
Yeah,
had
it
like
just
this
looked
crease.
really weird.
Yeah.
Ended up shaving it. It's just that's another thing. It's a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Like the beard is.
I can't even grow one. I think I have some sort of genetic disorder or something. I keep getting ads. I'll probably get more now that I said that. Those rollers. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
you can't grow one? Roll this fucker on your face and you
Yeah.
start growing it like a chia pet.
Gives you
What?
acne.
Yeah, you never seen that?
It's like
No.
a roller
That's
with a
bunch
bunch
of
of spikes
spikes.
on it.
And you
Probably
just-
because you have a great
But
beard.
it, like
Yeah, you don't even know. You don't
it
even get to know.
implants like
It-
facial hair.
yeah,
It
it's
just
basically
opens
like
up
a-
your pores.
Oh, kind of like
It's kind of like a
Yeah.
fertilization on the grass. That's what they're going for. They're like
Aerate.
aerating the lawn, you know?
facial
But
fertilization.
Yeah, exactly.
I've talked to like people that are like dermatologists and like that's a bunch of bullshit. They're just selling it and like basically will just give you acne because you're just like opening
That's what
pores
Geneva said too.
and then putting like oil in there. And you're
Doesn't
just,
seem good.
yeah,
It doesn't.
I don't know.
But I get the ads all the time because
Now we all will.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, right.
But now you'll know
Everyone
what it
listen to
is.
the podcast.
Now you'll know what it is. I should be in those ads, honestly. I can't grow a beard.
Yeah, I got one
I'll
bald
pitch
spot
you, boy.
that stops me from doing it all.
From the sides, yeah, that's a hard spot.
It's annoying.
That's
but
all right. One day.
One day.
We're getting older.
I got a great handlebar. That's what
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
I was devout handlebar for years.
Oh really? Yeah.
And the one time I met Hulk Hogan,
Whoa, how was
and
that?
I didn't have a handlebar stand. Like I had one like all the time, and I just came across a picture recently, and I was like, "What the hell was I thinking?"
How did that happen? How'd you meet him?
It's some bar somewhere. It was in New York, and I was so stoked because
He just happened to be there.
Hulkster. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean everyone loves the Hulk.
we're with remember Bam Margera?
Yeah.
So we were doing stuff with Bam, and it was something that we were at, and I was so pumped. But I was like regrettably didn't have the one time it really mattered.
Yeah.
Who's
guys
we
can
when
really-
you said Bam Margera? Was that like a company that you're at?
Well, when I was at Element, we worked together there. sort of in the heyday of
Yeah.
the
Gotcha.
era.
Yeah. So
Secret
what
was-
is your
World.
lineage of work? Because I know you've done a lot of things.
Lineage.
Yeah, I've done a lot of random stuff. I've worked a lot of random jobs. I think most notably, I guess, was Element. I was there for about 11 and a half years, something like that. And I left Element to help start Stance, which is just down the street from us.
Yeah.
San Clemente.
Yes, sir.
And then I've worked in tech for a little bit, which is really weird. Most recently worked at Igloo Coolers, which is cool. It was fun. It's like an old heritage company, 75-year American manufacturing story.
Was Tech that insurance company?
Yeah, InsurTech.
I remember seeing that.
Trove.
For some reason.
It was
Yeah.
so. It was. I wanted to work. I wanted to see what it was like to work in a different industry, and tech has always been super intriguing to me. Just like, I mean, that's a very broad,
booming.
very broad statement, though. Like tech,
Yeah.
it's like water.
Yeah.
But and I had a friend of mine hit me up, and he's like, "Hey, we want to create a bunch of content, create community, build out this sort of ambassador program around a app that you can control your insurance for things you own, cameras, surfboards, all that sort of stuff." And so it was super intriguing, and did it for 2 years, but they never got it really. It was a very, like, I was focused on the consumer aspect, like building out the consumer front for it, and they never got it off the ground. And they ended up going more like, instead of B2C, they went more B2B, working with big insurance companies. Insurance is really, really difficult, very boring, very, very safe, sedate. Like, they don't want to. We couldn't talk about insurance. We couldn't. The ambassador program that we built, they couldn't recommend insurance. They could just say that they were using the insurance. There's all these weird stipulations and regulations, super regulated, but a massive industry, like multiple trillions.
I mean, they just make money. That's their product.
Yeah.
It's just making money. Right?
Yeah, but they make their money it's not the whatchamacallit, when you pay for your insurance, that's not actually how they make the money. They make the money on investing all the insurance that they have, all the money that they have.
They're
Yeah,
just hedge funds?
it's crazy. It's so much money.
Wow.
It's
They just
wild.
take people's money, and it's almost like a Ponzi scheme.
It's
It's like take people's money and just reinvest it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's actually real funny is because you said like Element, Stance, Igloo. Is it Trove, the insurance company?
Trove, yeah.
Trove. I think
Treasure
that's where I
Trove.
first saw your name.
No way.
Was Trove.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I looked into that.
That's so
'cause I was like,
random.
oh, it's interesting for Seager to
Insurance.
Insure our cameras and stuff.
That's
like
what
that.
we meant. That's what was our intention.
on our trips.
Yeah.
What
and
a
I actually
small
looked
world.
into it, and then we ended up not even insuring anything and
Yeah.
doing general business insurance. But that's when I first saw your name.
That's
like
so funny.
When looking into
That's
that.
so random.
Yeah,
That is
you would think
ironically
all the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More adjacent.
Yeah.
It was ironically I had to borrow a Red camera from somebody, and I had to kind of like sign a letter of like, hey, if anything happens to it, and they're like, aren't you an insurance company? I was like, yeah, but we can't insure our own stuff. It was very complicated and it's strange, but it was a lot of fun, and it was met some really interesting people. It was definitely a culture shock.
Yeah, I was
for
going to
me.
say, it seems like the opposite kind of peers, you know?
They were. You ever see that show Silicon Valley?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like
It was
that.
kind of like that every day.
Oh, okay.
I love that show.
I mean, they'd like hire 35 developers, and then 6 months later, let them all go and hire. They shift their sort of focus, and they hire different developers, and it was just like these like big swings.
Yeah.
Great intention, good people. The founder was awesome. I learned a bunch. I actually learned that I didn't necessarily want to work in that industry.
Yeah.
There was just, again, it was just culturally different things that I got excited about. They could care less about. Like we had John Rose is a surfer, and he was a philanthropist. He was on our program, and he got the cover of Outside Magazine. And they have like a Slack channel, and I was like, oh my gosh, one of our ambassadors is on the cover of Outside. I think it was Outside Magazine, and crickets. Nobody even acknowledged it. But then they'd have like some Sprint. They'd break some or figure out some code in Sprint,
And they're all fired
night.
up.
They're just like so stoked, and
yeah.
I'm just like, I didn't even understand what they're talking
Yeah.
about. So it's just the cultural
That's hilarious.
differences in the world. But it's cool, it was something to do. It's in the East Bay. I'd fly up there for like a week every month. Go to the office.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Just spending money like it's going out of style.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, damn. So
Not
that
for
was
me.
after Element, before Stance?
After Stance.
After Stance.
Yep. I also worked at a coconut water company called Villager.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Helped start that.
It's San Diego based, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And now it's turned into RTD, like cocktails in a can. So from
Yeah.
coconut water now to
That's what I knew it as. I didn't realize it was coconut.
It used to be
Yeah.
coconut water.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
They
That's a
kind of have the
pivot.
same like business model as like St. Archer, where they got
It was
fast-
St. Archer, yeah. It was
Yeah.
the founder of St. Archer went and started Villager, and he's gone on to do other brands as well that have been successful. I think alcohol is kind of their focus.
Yeah.
Beers but yeah, it's really cool that it's turned into something.
Yeah,
I was kind of bummed that it just
Damn.
kind of disappeared and now it's back.
Yeah, yeah.
How many of those brands are you still involved in at the moment? Any of them?
It's from like a operational day to day, not any of them, but from a shareholder standpoint, still have some shares.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Just because obviously you were one of the co-founders of Stance, so
Yep.
I'm so curious just to hear like insight of how that all went, because that was a crazy story.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
quick
I mean,
blow up, it seemed like. Probably wasn't, but it seemed like it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like when you're in it, it just doesn't seem, you're just doing your thing. you know?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't seem like that. I remember at the time, though, there was a lot of support, thankfully, from the industry people. Well, actually, there wasn't a lot of support. Some people were very not supportive of us when it came to other brands because they just anticipated that we would turn into an apparel brand.
Oh, I see.
Which they anticipated correctly, right?
Surf brand. Yeah. Well, it took a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, when you're in it, it doesn't, I don't know. It's just, you're just doing your job.
Yeah.
But there was it was a rapid rise, to considerable success at the time. And it was a ton of fun to be around. I learned a lot. I'd never been exposed to, I don't know, venture capital and equity and that kind of growth, startup growth, being around some really smart people, met some great people that to this day I'm great friends with, and they're mentors of mine. And
Who were the original like investors or?
so Jeff Curl, who is the CEO, and then his buddy Rick Alden, who started Skull Candy headphones.
Gotcha.
It was kind of their concept, I guess, to do a product like Stance. They had explored a couple other categories, and then Rick was doing Skull Candy, and so Jeff took it upon himself to build out the team, which was the original 5 of us.
He just paid for it all, or
What's that?
himself? Did he pay for it all himself?
Yeah, well, they kind of set aside some capital to fund
Gotcha.
it, and then they worked with a group called Mercado out of Salt Lake City that was the original sort of funding partner, venture capital. And then there's been a ton of they've done a few different raises over the years, and I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but very well known and well regarded venture capital firms.
Crazy.
And then individual investors. There was a lot of, when I said support from the industry early on, there was a lot of, they created an advisory board. So retailers, people that worked at different brands, a great group of people, and they all pitched in, anywhere from, I don't know, 10 grand to 100 grand, depending on what their level of support.
Yeah.
And then there was, some famous sort of celebrity investors down the line, Will Smith and the Smith family, Jay-Z, a few other individuals that were sort of.
Speaking of Will Smith,
What?
Mattson thinks that the entire Will Smith slap is fake. Like it was completely made up and fake.
I do
It's a
think that.
conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I think I just as soon as I watched it, I was like, that looked fake.
We were
and then I was
talking
like,
about that last night at my
Oh,
family
really?
dinner. Yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
real.
I mean, that's what you think because
It's just
you're
real.
you're just a sheep that everyone.
You're just a sheep, bro.
But to me, I'm like, well, he's one of the best actors in the world. He's at an acting event, being awarded acting stuff, and then he does something that like blows him up on the internet and like makes the award ceremony that's probably going down in views because no one really cares anymore.
He got kicked out of the academy.
He did something that
He
tarnished
got
his
kicked
name.
out of the academy.
Well, he didn't.
I'm
Those
just
air
saying, I don't
quotes.
know. Air quotes, like who knows? They're probably like, we're gonna kick you out of the
It
academy.
did seem
but like,
super out of character.
yeah,
It did seem
yeah.
out of
He
character. He's like a
tarnished his
nice
name.
guy,
Yeah.
you know?
To me,
Granted,
we'll never get or we might get the answer one day. I'm just saying it's a fun thing to say.
I
don't
would have
really care.
preferred if he went up there and just gave it his all. Instead of like an open hand slap, like just knock him out.
Yeah, well,
Like that would have been less,
But that's the reason why I think
weird.
it's fake. 'Cause
like he
he's-
just slapped him.
Why did you slap him?
I know. Slapping is a weird first
Yeah.
instinct, right?
I mean,
Like if you're that mad and
he
you go
didn't
on
even
stage.
backhand him. He like slapped
Yeah,
him.
open hand slap.
Like, it's
Do you have an
weird.
opinion on
There's a lot
it?
of power there, though.
I'm of the conspiracy mindset.
Let's
Oh,
go.
get fucked, bro.
Hey, we'll do a poll for this.
But I also
we can poll this.
It
I
could
love
go either way.
conspiracy
Yeah,
theories,
same,
and so many
same.
of them come to be true, and there's just so much.
It's interesting as
It's
fuck.
so interesting.
I know.
and it draws you in
The
because
people
there's
that don't want it, I'm like, come on, it's fun at the minimum.
Yep.
That's-
There's such
but it
a,
can-
there's like
movies, it can
enough
get you-
reality to it. You're like, God, it could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
And it
That's
makes-
the way to
It
think
could
about it.
be.
It could be. It could be.
Will
So,
Smith.
I have a Will Smith story.
Okay,
Oh,
here we
fuck
go.
yeah.
We went to his house once when I was at Stance. His son Jaden, we were doing something with Jaden, and super cool, like awesome family. But going to his house was it's in I don't know where somewhere north of LA. But
Calabasas.
Calabasas.
Westlake.
Yeah,
What's
thank
his
you.
address?
What's his address again?
But it's like
123
it
Main
was.
Street.
It felt like I was driving into. It's like Coming to America when they go on to like the royal property. It was just
Yeah.
this massive property.
Yeah, I
it was
bet.
so cool and it's
Yeah.
very like super. Like the architecture was all African themed. It was beautiful,
Whoa.
beautiful
Damn.
home. And I followed another guy was in front of me, and I just followed him through the gate.
Yeah.
You know, like the little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He's one of those at his house?
Oh,
Like
dude.
the fucking kiosk things?
Like a gate guard.
Like a
No, there's like I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but there's like
That's just a
a
gate.
security house that's just like,
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I pulled up, and these guys come out with guns, and they're like, "Hey,
Whoa.
who are you?"
Whoa.
I'm like, "Oh no, I'm supposed to be here." They just took my ID. Like
They just
we'll
kept
give
it.
to you when you leave. I was
Wow.
like, whoa.
damn.
They're cool, but it was they just thought I was like some random lurker just
Yeah.
following
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
friend, which I'm.
Yeah. I mean, that's their
what they're there
job.
for. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Could've
crazy.
been.
I wonder what would have happened for him to feel the need to get armed guards like that. I mean,
Yeah,
I
right.
think they're just
I don't know.
that
Maybe I
big.
would.
Yeah.
You're that big.
Maybe I would
There's
just to
probably-
feel safe.
there's
But
probably
every time you
somebody-
come home, you're like, really? I got to drive past?
I'm so curious
You know what I
about
mean?
those lifestyles.
Yeah,
like
it seems gnarly.
And so we were hanging out in this in his house and doing stuff with his son, and out of nowhere he's just appeared. I was like, oh shit! I was like totally starstruck. I'm like,
Yeah,
"This
yeah.
fucking Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was so freaking nice.
Yeah,
that's
he seems
another
like a
reason
nice
the
dude.
conspiracy. I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy was so
Yeah.
Yeah.
personable, and every time he's come to Stance a couple times, the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
Like, just genuine. Like
Yeah.
look you in the eye, shake your hand.
That's what I would have thought.
Yeah.
Leading up to that.
I will
You
say
know,
though,
I never
a
met
lot
him,
of people with that mindset of like very personable, like they are very protective as well. So he could have been actually being protective of his
Okay,
wife.
but
Okay,
he's
but they
been-
have an
he's
open
been friends-
relationship.
He's
Yeah.
been friends
Right?
with Chris Rock his whole life. They're both
Yeah.
comedians.
They're in an
But
open
I know,
relationship.
but he had to protect his
No,
wife.
it's bull-
They're in
It's
an
honestly
open
bullshit.
relationship, bro.
Dude, that was the most watched video ever, I think. Like some kind of weird stat about that. We could probably look it up. But like the slap was like the slap heard around the world, and he probably knew it.
Heard her
the slap heard around the world.
I'm sure you can. That's probably even a quote.
That's probably an article, yeah. You'd be great at writing those.
oh yeah, uncensored moment.
Okay. Yeah.
This is so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Fuck
maybe
it.
maybe fast forward it a little bit.
Oh.
God, he slapped the shit out of him.
Yeah, but it's fake. He probably missed him. And
You
like,
think?
Yeah.
They didn't show a side angle ever. You know how many cameras they have.
Yeah.
You know who's got the hardest job tonight?
Yeah, maybe fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, goddamn. He is
Go to the
praying
slap.
that Will Smith wins.
That's a good actor, that guy. Spanish dude or whatever.
They're all good actors.
Yeah.
That's why this is fake.
I mean, you have a valid point. I'll always give you that.
I didn't know a lot about the backstory of his wife and her like open relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
All that sort of stuff.
It's so awkward. Just like he puts his hand on his back, he's laughing. I'd be like,
He missed him.
Yeah,
he didn't even
missed
hit him.
He missed him for sure. Also, he put his hands on his back and
No,
just
he
waited
definitely
there.
slapped him.
Did you see his like after energy? Kind of like
Yeah, yeah.
that's a trip.
Oh, that's a good pause though, Dylan.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
No way to
gnarly.
prove it. There's no way to prove it, but
There's no way to prove it, but the fact he waited, there's enough plausible deniability. You know what I mean? 107 million views, by the way. Look at that.
Well,
Wow.
anyways, I fully cut you off on that story of, I guess, celebrities that you were talking about investing
Wait.
in.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just
To the
random.
Will Smith,
Sorry,
yeah.
yeah, it was a random
That's a
tangent.
good
there.
one, though.
the Will
But-
Smith thing was, were you going somewhere else other than that? He's a really nice guy.
No, I just thought
Okay.
he was really sweet, and
Yeah.
it was like
It's a valid point. It's a valid point.
makes me more think that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
conspiracy.
I pictured his house would be the Fresh Prince house. Like,
Oh, God.
I thought that'd be a
It was
cool thing.
That'd be weird as fuck.
Would it? I'd be like,
dude.
that's where he got really
I guess
big.
maybe if you're like a psycho.
Really? You think? I
He
feel like
was
that's
like
fun.
he showed up, and we're sitting there, and I think we were literally sitting in like bean bags. He and I watching
Whoa.
some. I don't know. We brought
yeah,
some other
I
guys
love
with us,
beanbags.
like some pro skateboarders, Theodis Beasley, Chris Cole, because they wanted to meet
Yeah,
Will
yeah,
Smith.
for sure. I mean, who doesn't?
And so we're all hanging out. I think we're watching like a video with. And anyways, we're sitting there, and it's just me and him. I'm kind of like, whoa, I'm just sitting here with freaking
Yeah,
Will Smith.
in
It's
a
like,
beanbag.
yeah,
That's
beanbag.
sick.
That's
And
so
then
sick.
it was a huge room, like this training room, like where they train for stunts and stuff. And
In his house?
yeah,
Training room?
yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And then he's like, "Hey, you guys want some snacks?" Basically to me. And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, what
heck
do you
yeah. And it was like he
was
snapped his
it?
fingers, not literally, but like it was like
Yeah.
he snapped his fingers, and there was this most insane spread of like
Whoa.
chef.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my God.
Private chef style.
Sushi. Oh, just
Oh, what a
out of nowhere, just
dream.
like appeared. I was like, "Whoa!" And then just like that, he disappeared. He was just gone. I never saw him again. So
Wow.
it was like
He Irish goodbye you.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously.
No,
I guess
left me
that's-
with snacks.
That's like
That's the way to do
I feel like that's his life. Is he's like gotta
Yeah,
like be around
entertain.
for a second,
Yeah.
and then he's like, I'm fucking over this. I gotta go.
Sounds miserable.
It's
honestly.
gotta, yeah. It would be a lot to have that level.
Too
of
much
like,
fame.
Yeah. Like
Too
even
much fame.
even going to the Academy Awards, I can imagine him being like, "Fuck, I'm so massively famous. Like, why do I have to go into downtown LA and like shoot this stupid thing?"
Yeah, but isn't that when he won
I don't
that
think
thing?
he thinks about it like that. I think everyone else makes it happen for him, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm in this car and I'm going right now."
Maybe
Yeah.
at
Like
the
he doesn't have to think
beginning.
about. How
But
do I
that's
get
kind of my
there?
point. Is like he doesn't have to think about that stuff, but he's like, I don't want to go. I want to just sit on the couch and fucking watch.
I want to go on my
like-
beanbag.
Yeah.
I want to go do some fucking
But
stunts.
he has to go do it
Yeah.
because he's part of this whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's how he makes his money.
Yeah.
I did get the impression that it was like this. It was like a thing. Like their everything about their life is like handled and planned, and
Yeah,
they're
agents.
almost like they're propped up. And,
Yeah,
you know,
which
like
sounds
even
pretty
his
shitty.
like I said, he was super nice. It just felt like he had been trained to be nice. Like
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
politician almost,
Yeah.
kind of.
yeah,
It's like
and not
Right.
in a bad way.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
sorta
he's
like
got to
that's-
keep his image polished.
Yeah, he's always on stage.
You're not going to
kinda.
see him
Yeah.
like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
grumpy.
Yeah.
Which
Damn.
they're always going to.
Well, which I
I'd be
would
the
do for
worst.
sure.
Yeah, I'd be the worst famous person ever.
We want to give a shout out to a sponsor of today's episode, Desert Door Sotol. Desert Door Sotol, the most premium spirit, distilled in Driftwood, Texas. Desert Door. Desert Door is wildly harvested, fermented, distilled, and bottled by Desert Door in Driftwood, Texas. Check them out at desertdoor.com. Today's episode is brought to you by All Hands Canned Cocktails. Just got out to camping land, got me a cooler full of cans. What do you know, they're all just cans of All Hands. Pretty soon I'm drinking all 5 flavors. Ooh, 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 getting drunk off All Hands. All Hands makes craft cocktails out of Austin, Texas. Their cocktails are made with 6 times distilled craft vodka and 100% all natural ingredients. Check them out at allhandscocktails.com.
I'm also assuming if Will Smith was an investor, then you guys did like a Fresh Prince collab.
I'm sure we did at some point.
That'd be
It's
like
hard
the
to keep
easiest
track.
way to
yeah,
get in there.
I think
Like-
there was. Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
like
That's
a
pretty sick.
weird one with royalties. Like who owns the rights?
Yeah.
to that?
Oh, that world
Paramount.
is so crazy.
You guys probably dealt with that a lot. I
Licensing
feel like
stuff.
you did all of that, right? You
Yeah,
guys
I
collabed
did in
with
the
everyone.
beginning, and it's gone on. There's been a lot. Yeah, it's like almost. At one point, I had suggested, well, we should have a log of every product collab, license, partnership, whatever you want to call it, we've done, because there was really like big ones, like a Minecraft or something, or like something just cool and
NBA.
mellow. That's like these guys from Europe, Eat Dust, or a clothing brand, and it was just rad. It was fun, and but it was small. It wasn't like
Yeah.
anything big. But to have a catalog or at least a list, but it was so daunting because there's been so many people and so many projects, and it was like, where do you even
Crazy.
start?
Yeah.
Like,
Dictionary of collabs.
You need a historian.
yeah, it would be cool to see it in a book, like a picture with
Yeah.
each one, a little story on each one. But that was just a huge task to do.
I thought
I
it
didn't
was,
want to do it.
I thought it was
Yeah.
super groundbreaking when you guys did all the the sports collabs, like
Yeah.
NBA and MLB. Was there any others like tennis or Wimbledon?
NBA was the big one, and then came MLB. NFL existed for a little while.
Dope.
I've dealt with those when I was at Igloo a little bit, and they're gnarly. They're really hard. It comes down. A lot of it hopefully can come down to a relationship. So we had this guy Clark Miyazaki who was head of business development. He came from Skull Candy. He'd done a bunch of NBA stuff there, and he was really like the one who helped I mean, there's a lot of business components to it as well that help, but from a relationship standpoint, he's really good friends with like Dwayne Wade and Iguodala and like a bunch of players, and that just helps. It just helps.
Yeah.
But then there's in contrast, the NFL, it's not really about relationship, it's just money. And like
Who will pay the most to
just you just got to pay.
What I think is interesting is stance as a general concept. I mean, we've been in the surf industry. Me personally, us three have been in the surf industry for a long time. And when you guys first came out, it was like that perfect anecdotal company where you're like, at first, you're like, what the hell? Like, how does that make any sense? And then it becomes almost like a case study in college where it's like,
it literally was at BYU. I've gone
yeah,
and talked to them.
I'm
before.
sure.
Wild.
It's like, it's probably been so, I probably even studied it at my business, like, I had a business minor, so did he.
Yeah.
But
Seems cool.
and
What's
he was
cool?
a business major, I
UCSD
think,
down in
right?
La Jolla.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Anyways,
Nerdy though.
I just think it's so funny how like you guys basically just printed on socks and made socks cool. And at first, that's like one of those, like I was saying, the anecdotal thing where you're like, why didn't I think of that? Like, how did it?
It's
how
so
did that, like,
diverse. I mean, you can
crazy.
tap into everything.
Yeah, and
Everything at that point.
I wasn't
Everyone wears
just-
socks.
yeah.
Except Einstein, right? I don't think he wore socks. Or am I tripping?
What?
Are you
Wasn't
tripping
he
off the
famous?
socks?
Wasn't he famous for not wearing socks?
I don't know, but I'm maybe Gregory Isaacs didn't. I don't know.
He probably did. He's tried comfy all the time.
I was working at an acai bowl place when Stance. It was like year one of Stance. And
Like a
one of the-
retail store, or like a
No, like an acai bowl, like
a
bowl of heaven.
Amazon.
He
or
just
something.
sold
Bowl of heaven.
fruit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I worked there for the summer, and one of
man.
the guys was dating the manager, and he was like a designer at Stance. And I just remember being like so stoked to get a pair of Stance socks. Like, it was like the cool thing.
It's crazy to think back on how, again, like when I was saying in the beginning, you're just kind of in it doing it. Like
Yeah.
you don't, I don't know, I felt like I didn't really take my head up to look around. It was just like, you're just so in it. But there, to your point, there was a lot of, like when I was leaving Element, it was a pretty successful company at the time, owned by Billabong. It was publicly traded, all this crazy stuff. And it was like, you know, people were like, "What are you doing?" You're crazy. As friends of mine that I grew up with in Hawaii were like, "You're doing a sock company? Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're crazy."
That's a big move after 11 years.
Yeah, and
An
just,
element.
but the
seriously.
fact that the people were like, "What?
Yeah.
Like socks?
Socks.
And then
because
some
back
people,
then, like it was like Kirkland or like
Kirkland.
it was,
you know, like
yeah, it was
what-
Hanes and
Yeah.
Well, what did you see to make you like believe in it?
I just saw that you could like really utilize it as a canvas for like, this is gonna sound so corny and cliche, but like a canvas for self-expression. Like people that wore socks, you could tell like they were like a sock type of person.
Yeah.
And I remember I found it recently, my initial sort of like presentation of what I wanted to do with the people that I had highlighted, the projects, the collabs, all the stuff that I wanted to do, or I wanted to kind of propose that we do. But it was like really about this like individuality and sort of this self-identity thing. And we ended up using that as part of sort of the brand narrative and whatnot, the uncommon thread. And I think because it was so weird from the standpoint of like, wait, what are you doing? Socks?
Yeah.
That part I really liked. When they first approached me, I was kind of like, oh, socks. But then after thinking about it for just a short amount of time, I was like, oh, fuck yeah, socks. Actually, that's kind of cool. And I wasn't a sock guy. Like I wasn't like a sock person. I wasn't, I didn't have a drawer full of socks. I had like 3 pairs of Element socks.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, whatever. And but it was something fun and unique and different. And
Yeah, I think
it was a white space.
The unique part came from the actual unique designs because as soon as you guys made it cool, because you guys our stance is cool, but you guys really aligned with like the surf skate industry, and that immediately like just resonated with so many guys that were cool, and therefore if that guy is wearing cool like crazy socks, white socks are out, and like that cool sock is in, and it just like blew up so fast because of that, and then obviously it got a lot bigger, and you guys were NFL and NBA and all that stuff, but it's freaking crazy.
It was fun. I learned so much about business and leadership, management, brand building. I thought I knew a thing or two, having been at Element and gone through the growth. We came from this sort of like smaller hard goods brand like skateboards and hard goods, and then it turned into this apparel thing, and then we did wacky stuff like shoes, and it just like the learning lessons through all that was super helpful. But like when I got to Stance, it was really sort of, I cut my teeth on I don't know, like I was a team manager before, and sort of like I've always had this. It's been said by other people, but like if you can manage a team of skateboarders, you can kind of do anything.
I bet, yeah.
But I used those tools later in life when I was managing a team. I think at one point we had, I think my department, which was marketing, was like 25 people all in. And at that point, it's less about doing the work and just managing the people in the process or establishing a process. And you know, I mean, you guys will go through this where it's just like there's so many things to do, and like who does it and how do you set them up for success? How do you like lead in a meaningful way? And I thought that was a lot of fun. I started like understanding what mentors were and how to, you know, enhance my professional capacity or my business acumen, and I started really thinking about that stuff, which before that I didn't really care. I just do you show up and work and do your thing, and it's like trying to have as much fun as you can. But that was where the first time I saw, oh wait, this is like a thing that like it could turn into other things, and I really wanted to like learn from the people around me. And it was great, and we worked with some amazing people along the way. You know, not everyone's amazing. It's tough sometimes. You know, somebody gets hired that you hire them, or they don't succeed to the level you want, or, but again, all learning lessons and a lot of fun along the way.
You say you had 25 people in your marketing department alone?
Yeah. Dang. That was, you know, everything from performance marketing, content creation, specific. I think at one point we had specific categories like, you know, surf, skate, motocross, that sort of stuff.
We have less employees at our whole company.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool if we had 25.
Yeah, that would help a lot, probably.
I mean, we started, you know, small. There's 5 of us. And it grew. At one point, we were growing so fast. It was just kind of warm bodies. Like, you know, I'd hire people without a job description or a place to sit or a computer. All these things. I just need a body to throw at this. Not even a problem. This opportunity or whatever it is, so we had to stop, or like as a company, we stopped and we said, wait, we got to like improve our process here because culture was very important to us. I mean, it's kind of a buzzword these days around companies and whatnot, but we took a lot of time and energy to focus on what that culture was going to be, how to augment it, how to develop it, how to maintain it with people, how to, you know, set up things in place or put things in place that would, you know, go back to the culture. Like, I mean, to everyone there at that time, I'm probably now as well, but they could rattle off what the values were, what the company culture was, you know, all this stuff, because we just sort of wanted people to really like live it and understand it, not just.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's an opposite side of that where it's just some fancy words on a wall and it means nothing, and they act totally different from what they, you know, say they were going to do.
For sure.
We tried to truly live those values. And
I mean, your guys' I haven't been to it, but I feel like it's been in a million videos and I would love to, honestly.
Yeah.
We got the gym. Come on,
I want to work out there.
Went there. It looks epic. Yep. But that's in terms of culture. It was a basketball gym in it, right? And a gym.
Yeah,
and
it was basketball
just looks
court,
dope.
gym. It's weird now because nobody's there. So after
really?
COVID, well,
it's just remote.
Yeah, most people work remote. They've been able to get more talent because they opened up the aperture of places to work from. So it's not just in San Clemente or close. But when during my time there, the gym was like very active. We had she's still there, director of wellness, Naomi. She
drives a Maserati, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Dude, I saw that when I drove by. I was like, who's this chick?
She trains a lot of pro athletes.
Okay.
Baseball players, football players. She just had a bunch of guys getting ready for the combine coming through, a bunch of quarterbacks.
That's dope.
Does she rent that gym from Stance then? Like
I don't know what the arrangement is. She used to be a full-time employee, but now with not as many people there, I think she still interacts with, you know, folks when they need to, but day to day, I think she's probably more running her personal training business.
You know what I'm bummed about?
What are you bummed about?
When we first moved up here, I looked up the coffee shops around the area, and I was so stoked when I found out that you guys had your own coffee shop, and it was right on the way.
Yeah, we're big
and then
fans
I went
of
there, and it was like
coffee
fully closed down. I was like, why?
Bear Coast, yeah.
I know.
That was when I was still there. I had.
Oh, you had a Bear Coast in your place?
No, I didn't know it was Bear Coast.
Yeah.
In it?
I thought it was just like
How do you do that? You just sublet?
Yeah. Yeah, they
dope.
did
That would've been
burritos.
It's a great spot for them because there's so many.
I know. We
commercial
should think
people.
about that here.
Yeah.
They got a lot of action too.
That's great.
I feel like, but yeah, there was a lot of amenities. It gets talked a lot about at Stance because I think we, in some ways, over-indexed on the amenities for people, whether that was the gym or the basketball court. We had a chef, Chef Anthony.
Yeah, I gotta ask, at what
Yeah.
point did you guys get a chef? Like, how many people were you like, let's get a chef to cook?
I think it
meals?
was probably around 125 people, something like that. And it was really sort of an efficiency of, hey, look, you don't have to leave, disrupt your day.
Yeah.
You can grab some foods, finish your meeting. It was more to create an environment where people didn't have to leave to go eat, save money
so
too.
awesome.
Sounds amazing.
And a lot of those things were enhancers for the work environment. As Jeff Curl likes to say, want to blur the lines between life and work.
So you're always working.
Well, yeah,
Or
but
you're
so
always living.
that's the negative. It's like sometimes you're like, wow, it's like 8 o'clock and I've been here for 12 hours and I
Yeah.
just want to go home.
Yeah.
But you were playing
Utopia.
basketball.
Yeah. But I think if you create an environment that's inviting, that is, an enhancement to your daily, activities.
Yeah.
But there's negative effects of that too, potentially, wherein somebody comes in and they eat lunch and then they go bail and go have a lunch, or they go take the time off or whatever.
A double down.
People
Yeah.
take advantage of it.
So you got to monitor it, and the culture aspect was important to us. So there was, as much as people were able to take advantage of it positively, some people took advantage of it
Yeah,
negatively.
always.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just you just got to manage it, and it's
Yeah.
just people are different. Like everyone's different. It's like just because you set a precedent doesn't mean everyone's going to follow it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it was a great attractor for new talent. For you bring someone in, there's a bunch of people playing basketball at 10:30 in the morning, and then they finish and they shower and they grab lunch, and then they go have a meeting, and someone that's being courted to work there is like, this is killer.
Sounds
Yeah.
insane.
I'm sure it's easy to hire for that, honestly. It's pretty epic.
I'm also so curious, ever since you walked in here, what your podcast idea?
Yeah.
Podcast you already started?
Yeah, so I was recorded 3. So yeah, I was actually, so I'm in the throes of developing a new brand and project called Temple of Weirdness and Wellness. And as part of that, my partner in it was like, hey, we should do a podcast. And I was like, I love podcasts, listening to them.
Yeah.
This is actually the 3rd or 4th I've actually been a guest on, so it's
Hell yeah.
still new to me.
Yeah.
But I was very much against it. I was like, I don't want to be a podcast host. I don't want to be the guy. But it afforded us a unique opportunity to sort of talk about the brand, invite unique individuals, tell their stories, all that sort of stuff. Weirdness and wellness is a fun sort of guardrails to have conversations around. And I actually really enjoy it. I think it's a little, weird at first, but so one of the first guests was Mattson,
Yeah.
chef.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And afterwards we talked for about 2 hours, and I had it was like a really fun conversation. And I asked him things that I might not have asked him if we were just sitting at dinner,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
his family, or because it's
Totally.
provoking
Kinda
the
forced into
conversation.
it. Yeah.
So was he on the weirdness side?
And the wellness side.
Yes.
Yeah. He was
I'm
like,
just curious.
no,
What
his,
does
that-
his
what does
point of
that
view was
mean?
like,
He
I'm
cooks burgers and stuff.
Whoa.
he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's not the healthiest.
Dude.
His food looks so good, though.
Yeah,
I
he's-
can't follow him because of that. I have
he's
no
high
self-control.
calorie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
could
all
be.
his food is like comfort food.
Yeah,
Burgers.
big time.
Yeah.
But for me, the wellness was really around sort of entrepreneurship, his family, his community.
He's killing it.
Oh, he does great. And
Yeah.
what he does for his team, he's got a huge team of staff, employees, whatnot. And that was, so wellness isn't always just going to be the physical
Gotcha.
component. It could be community based. For him, it was entrepreneurship, and he's such an entrepreneur. He's got so many things
Yeah.
going on. And so it was a fun conversation. And then I did 2 more, Nora Vasconcelos, a pro skateboarder, and a guy named Toby Morse, who's a friend of mine. He's a new podcaster himself. He's had on pretty radical guests, Andrew Huberman and Josh
Oh,
Brolin,
sweet.
Damn.
and to name a few.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
his is more like around music. He's in a hardcore band. Grew up in New York, but it's fun. Like I enjoy the conversation. The prep part is maybe not as much fun, but it's I've realized that you got to put in. I've asked podcast friends of mine, how much time they put into researching the guests in advance, and it
Yeah.
varies between like 7 to 10 hours of research, whether that's reading their
Wow.
books or watching. Some have
Wow.
like some friends have had like documentaries on them, so that part's easy to.
Yeah.
It's like as Rich Roll put it, a pleasure cruise of research. But I'm by nature, I think I'm very curious about becoming better at something. So
Yeah.
I listen to
We'll
podcasts
be the
about podcasting. And
We'll be the outlier of that research.
Yeah.
We're 0 hours.
Very minimal.
Yeah,
but we're still having a great conversation.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
But that's
I mean,
the looseness of this.
Exactly.
yeah,
That's our
That's
style.
kind of where we've been. I mean, we are running a business, and we just want to do this after hours with influential people and just talk about like what they've done, and honestly, truly learn as we go.
Yeah.
Because we know that you're a legendary person.
Me?
If you're sitting in
No,
that chair, you're a
absolutely,
legendary
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in that chair, something about you has done something that surprised us and made us want you to be here.
Yeah.
I'm grateful and
Yeah.
flattered, but I don't consider myself.
I mean,
But people
Well,
want to
we do,
hear, yeah, we
so.
want to hear about your life. People want to hear about it. And I personally, I know this may be against the rules of podcasting.
oh wow.
But
There are no
research,
rules, but let's
Can't
go.
say more on
research
the
to
radio.
me is, I love research. I love doing it. I've done it, whatever. But it's more about the raw, like fully getting to know you in this conversation. Like like I said earlier when we were talking, and you were like, "I want to tell you about this thing." And I was
You're like,
"Hold
"Do
on,
it. Stop."
I want that real reaction
Yeah.
of like, "That's what's going on in your life." That's
It'd be
crazy.
really hard to watch an interview of you and then ask you the same question
Yeah.
or something. You
Yes.
know, that would feel weird.
Exactly. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
It's a
fake.
redundant. It's
Yeah.
kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have to do this like fake, like, "Oh, really?"
But there
And I
was-
don't want to do that.
There was one time though, like specifically on this note, where we did an interview with Taylor from a band called Camp, and I had watched one interview of them. I went against
all
this
had,
rule,
we all had.
right?
We,
Watched one, and on that, and I know he didn't watch this one because he went against it. And on someone asked him like, "Why'd you call it Camp?" or something like that. Someone asked him that question, and he said, "I hate when people ask me that question." Not like that, but that was what he said. And so on our podcast, I was like, "Okay, noted, don't say that." And on our podcast, Mattson asked him that.
Bro, you told me that beforehand. I
Yeah.
asked him it just to provoke the
It's
emotion.
so funny.
I wanted
Oh,
to
really?
yeah, I
Oh,
knew
God,
that.
my memory's gone.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, I'm gonna ask him that, and you're like,
Planted.
"Don't do it." And I was like, "I
Yeah.
gotta ask him."
I know.
And then he did not.
Why'd you
like
put
it.
2
It was
A's?
a really bad idea.
Yeah.
honestly, I
He
wanted it to
genuinely
be
doesn't
funny.
like-
He hated it.
Yeah, I told you. He said he didn't like
Yeah.
it. So
anyways,
sometimes it helps.
Lesson learned.
Yeah. Sometimes it helps, but
Yeah.
at the same time too, it's like somewhere in the middle. I feel like is the move there. Like you want to know enough about them where you're not just like throwing spaghetti at a wall, you know. But you
It
don't
depends
wanna,
on the content of the podcast,
Totally,
right? So
totally.
if like you really want to understand, I don't know, if there's a storyline or a narrative that you're trying to.
totally.
This is just fun chat. So
Exactly.
that's it. Like it doesn't have to be a ton
100%.
for
Yeah,
you-
if you're-
And
if
honestly-
you're like Dr. Humorman, obviously you got to do some.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds gnarly.
research,
Yeah,
yeah.
he'd
But-
probably interview us, honestly.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I think it's all
We should get
dependent
Dr.
on the
Phil.
guests too.
What?
Like it's all dependent on the guests.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
some people are
if- yeah.
chatty, and some
Yeah.
people just, don't say.
Stare
Well, there's
at
one
you,
guest
yeah.
I'm hoping to have, and what I've seen, it's kind of short answers, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, it's gonna be a short
Sounds
one.
gnarly. Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
That sounds hard.
Yeah.
But I mean, for this one, like Mattson was saying, you have a very prestigious career. You know, whether you think it or not,
I don't-
you know,
yeah.
you have been, and in other than the tech bit, and even that, there's still
foray
a lot
into
to
tech.
learn. You know, but for us, we learned so much from people like yourself, especially that you were in the industry that we're in.
Yeah.
We're obviously also in the outdoors and Western industry, which might be outside of what you had done, but it's very similar.
That's
Still
all. I mean, it's
apparel.
all the same.
It's apparel, you know.
Like structurally speaking, or whatever. It's
Yeah.
you still. You're developing a brand. You work with people. You do partnerships. There's a narrative. There's
Mm-hmm.
storytelling. It's like those fundamentals are still there. It's just maybe the style, the veneer, or whatever it is that you.
Totally.
But those brand building basics will exist. Wherever.
100%.
Yeah.
Is there, or are there, I should say, because I'm learning English, are there
He's
any.
a second.
It's my second. I actually
English is
speak
his second
calculus.
language.
Are there any, from the outside perspective, looking in of Seager, from your experience, are there things that you think we're doing right or wrong out of curiosity?
I mean, it's not for me to say right or wrong. I think it's rad what you guys are doing, that you kind of captured this essence of, there's a lot of sort of Western wear brands or outdoor brands, but you've captured this sort of essence of, dare I say, like the board sports mindset and applied it to that sort of outdoor audience. So I think there's sort of a uniqueness for maybe somebody that doesn't have the same affinity for, surf culture in San Clemente, but they see that you guys are doing it with your version of it, and that's cool. It's different than Wrangler. Whatever. I just think it's fun, like what you guys have done with the partnerships, the musicians, the content, the Coors. That's just fun stuff.
It's a blast.
And that's I think the part that sometimes gets lost in business is whatever it is, some financial goal or an outcome. The board wants you to do this or whatever your structure of your company is. It's you guys are small and growing, so you can kind of do whatever the fuck you want.
Which is totally
rad. But I feel like a lot of times people forget to have fun. And there's the old cliche, work hard, play hard. But I think there's you got to do that. You got to not forget why you got into it. And if it's a lifestyle associated with your brand and the consumer you're trying to talk to, like represent that in a meaningful way. Don't fall out of that and just focus too much on the business. And sometimes it depends on the people. It's all about the people. But that's I think really important that you never lose sight of that. And you still, whatever it is, the trips you guys want to go on, the music that you listen to, and the beverage brands you work with, whatever it is, just and this is such an overused word, but authentic. Like people can tell when it's inauthentic. Or where brands have a very like sort of unique point of view or approach to market, and then you can tell when it's sort of like, oh, here came the investor, and they start to do
they sold out kind of thing.
Maybe it's growth, but depends. Like you start to see, I don't know, for an apparel brand, something to be developed, you're like, whoa, that's not really, doesn't feel like them. But again, it's their brand, so
right. I know.
I think from what you guys represent, and just coming in here and meeting everyone, and everyone's like young and excited.
It's
the
fun.
Dogs are here.
It's cool. It's fun. I mean, we're definitely we try our best on the cultures, like we're talking about, and trying to instill that in everyone. And we're all friends and friends of friends that all work here and stuff. And I think that work-life balance, I think this past year, maybe earlier too, is kind of where we're first starting to actually. So our last warehouse was shitty. We lived in it, so it was more built in.
That's such a great part of the story.
That was great. I mean, it was a blast. Like, especially in hindsight. Sometimes in it, you're like, God, this is gnarly. It was a shitty zone.
Talk about blending or blurring the lines between work and life. We were literally living where we worked.
It was fun.
Very blurry.
Very blurry.
It was like midnight talks. Then we realized, wow, we just worked like 14 hours today.
I know.
I will say this too, and I'm guilty of this. I felt like at a certain point I was supposed to represent something based on my title or my role or whatever, and it just wasn't me. And I felt like I got distracted by that. And sometimes I would be like, this isn't me. That's not who I am, for better or for worse. I mean, in some ways it was probably worse because I didn't grow into a role that I could have, I don't know, career achievement and like the titles and all that stuff hasn't. I don't know. I just would rather do cool shit with cool people, and hopefully some money can come from it. But that wasn't my driver. And some people, that's great. They look for that. They have their MBA or whatever. I didn't go to school for it, and so I kind of like sort of happily developed on my own through my own experiences, and I didn't set out. I didn't go to school for a marketing degree, that kind of thing. In some ways I wish I had, because I think it would have helped me in a lot of ways, where I was like, I don't know what to do here.
I know, right?
Is the Temple of Weirdness and Wellness, is that going to be apparel, or is that like a gym, or is that, because like I'm even thinking back to all those names you said, you can kind of categorize, like for weirdness I think of like, oh, a unique something, or just something that people like don't talk about or are learning. And then wellness, I was thinking of like ice, like polar plunges and like techniques.
Yeah, modalities. Yeah, it's all that. I mean, from a
Must be a
apparel
love
standpoint, I don't have aspirations to develop an apparel brand per se, but I want to have products that we can wear that sort of help share the message. So yes, there will be a part of that. But never say never. Who knows if that takes off and it becomes something more than what I had a vision for. It's really about the community sharing the experiences, things that I've been into that have helped me in my journey. It's for me the sort of, I don't know, wellness is sort of a broad term, but for me it's just trying different things, being curious about something, whether that is something like breath work or cold plunge, sauna, plant medicine, whatever it may be, like the propensity to try things and see if it's helpful to me. And it's really about being helpful and enhancing somebody's life. That's what I want to like. The weirdness part is sort of interpretable by what your tolerance for weirdness is. Some people being sober is weird, and some people being like doing ayahuasca may be super weird, although it's becoming more mainstream these days.
Yeah, wellness.
The Temple of Wellness and Weirdness. That's how I say it.
Temple of Weirdness and Wellness.
Oh, other way around.
Or you can just call it Temple.
Temple.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
I'm excited about it too. But what I'm mostly excited about is you investing into a very cool wellness area for us.
Yeah.
In San Clemente.
Yeah.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
For that.
No, we need it. Like we literally need. There's so many people because there's like Lifetime. Lifetime's whatever.
I'm a 24 down myself
There's
right now.
okay.
but
He's 24. I'm crunched.
I'm more of a
technically.
blue collar kind of guy.
I'm even more blue collar than you, dude.
Crunch is bullshit, dude.
Crunch is bullshit.
Fake.
Yeah, it's shit.
Fake.
But I love it.
I'm home.
No,
I'm
Lifetime over there.
Yeah, Lifetime.
So, anyways,
I know where you're going, and yes, I 100%
I want to.
agree.
I want to walk into a
like
wellness
proper,
center.
like a cool
yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Like
well,
you walk in, you're like, okay, there's a weight room.
That's also
nice.
about $5,000 a month.
And,
That would be
and
nice.
you got the cold plunge that's like clean, and you got the towels, and you can go into
wow.
a nice sauna.
Keep going.
And then you're just like, your day's set, and
Keep
it's
going.
8:30.
Give me
and you go
imagery.
to work. I
Yeah.
want that shit.
Yeah.
I want that shit.
I want to bring it to you.
Yeah.
Please do.
Build it for you.
We were
Yeah.
just talking about how no gyms that we know of don't have polar plunges.
I think
That's
it's a double negative.
No gyms that
My
we know
man.
have.
I always
no
look for double negatives.
gyms that we know of have polar plunges.
Yeah.
It's kind of a.
Sounds hard to
They
maintain.
used to have a
I
lot
know
of them. They
Dan-
just call it like a cold plunge, but not
Yeah.
like really cold. Like,
Yeah.
I have one at
Yeah.
my house. I just have the kind of
What'd you
ghetto
get?
version. It's like a Frigidaire freezer. Like
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sick. Okay.
Is it the one that's like the double door top thing?
no, it's just one, but it's
One big fatty?
15.6 cubic feet. And,
Do you keep water in it at all
yeah,
times?
so I
Okay.
keep water in it,
At what
and I put what's that?
At what temp?
So I'll plug it in. You don't leave it plugged in
Oh.
because there's potential for electrocution.
Oh,
The
Holy
new all the
shit.
fancy cold plunges, like there's a brand called Cold Plunge.
Yeah, yeah.
Theirs is really nice,
Theirs looks great.
but they're really expensive.
Yeah.
So
Like
mine
five-
is kind of the. I started out with the horse trough, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
real
yeah.
kind
That's
of
what I
ghetto
do too.
version.
Just doing
And I'd
ice.
buy ice, but it got really expensive because
Yeah,
you
it's
need like
annoying.
10
too.
bags of ice,
You gotta go
Yeah.
to a liquor store every day.
and then your water's sort of like a bunch of guys going through it. It's kind of
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
So, and then it would warm up pretty quick. So then I was like, this is not sustainable. So at the time, a lot of people were buying before the cold plunge brands and all these freezers. Would buy a Frigidaire freezer, and basically you plug it in, you fill it with water.
Yeah.
You buy it, you reseal it.
Yeah.
Just because it's made not to hold water per
Wait,
se.
what do you mean by where do you reseal it? The
Just
corners?
all the seams.
Okay,
So you just
gotcha.
get caulking and
Gotcha,
go with
gotcha.
the seam. And you probably could get away without doing it, but
Yeah.
just to make it primo.
Yeah.
And then you fill it with water, you plug it in, and it freezes. It gets cold. Sometimes where I was going with this whole story is sometimes I'll forget and I'll leave it plugged in and it gets really freaking cold, like
Yeah.
sub 30.
Yeah.
And it gets big chunks of ice in it. That's actually
Damn.
kind of, I like it, but it really hurts.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
tough to sit in because 2 minutes is sort of your standard.
Stink.
Gnarly.
Sometimes when it's, sub 30, like 26, 28 degrees, I can do a minute. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, ugh.
Did
But
you already talk to Dr. Huberman?
no.
Okay, wow.
I'm
it's
like,
gonna be huge.
I'm trying to manifest
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's gonna
My
be
friend
huge.
Toby's like, we'll make it happen. And he came from skateboarding. He's like,
Really?
yeah,
I
he's
did
been
not know
on
that.
this skateboarding podcast called the 9 Club. He's been on a number of
He was
times.
on the 9 Club?
He's into punk rock. He's grew
Wow.
up skateboarding at
Epic.
EMB in San Francisco.
Wow,
he
he
knows all
hides
these
that shit. It
skateboarders.
seems like he seems very like just not.
He's
into
covered in
that.
tattoos.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I'm so blind.
A friend of mine works for him. This guy, Mike Blayback, who's a skate photographer. He's on there's a small Huberman podcast team. There's 4 of them. And
Sounds like you got the in.
yeah,
it sounds like you're a guy in the bag.
guys.
Wow.
I'm trying.
Wait, you were talking about Huberman this whole time?
Yeah.
At the end, who are you thinking?
No, I just didn't know who you were talking about, and then I realized. So Huberman, you're talking about is the skateboarder.
Skateboarder.
He grew up
shit.
skateboarding.
Damn.
I know that's what I was thinking.
And he's into punk rock.
I mean, I
He's like
didn't know
Rancid
that.
is his favorite
Yeah.
band.
Damn.
So this guy Toby
I love that name.
figured out. They got in contact with him. He's been on the podcast. He's done a guest. They just love each other. But Toby introduced Dr. Andrew Huberman to Tim Armstrong from Rancid, which was like a big bucket list kind of intro. So
Yeah, that's
I went and saw Huberman speak at a theater in LA. I'd never been to go see a professor speak before.
Yeah, is it
It was-
cool?
it was
I've always,
so cool.
I
I
thought
was
about
such a
doing
nerd.
that.
Probably learned
Huberman's
so much.
Huberman's awesome.
Yeah.
I freaking love his shit.
He's so articulate, and there's so many of these. Like I was just listening to Joe Rogan with Eric Weinstein, and the guy's so
That was a crazy one.
smart. It's
Yeah.
I feel dumb.
It hurts.
Yeah, I'm like,
you can see his
"Ugh."
brain working. You're like,
Ugh.
bro, that's gnarly.
Just the stuff that they retain.
I know,
Yeah.
it's insane.
It's wild.
And the
I-
amount of research that they've done just
Oh,
to
it's
talk about what they're
crazy.
doing.
Huberman,
Yeah.
same thing. He just rattles off
Yeah.
all this
Data.
Yeah.
Just
biology
data brain.
and
I
just-
know.
He can
so
have a
envious.
podcast by himself for 3 hours and talk about something and recite things that are historically researched and done, and like
Yeah.
it's like there's
but
no,
in a captivating way.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like
you're
like,
listening, you're
"Ugh."
like, yeah, exactly, it's captivating
Because he kind of
crazy.
jokes about it, and,
Yeah.
makes fun of himself a little bit.
Right.
It's relatable.
I
It's
know,
relatable.
it's crazy. I can't
Yeah.
believe he
So
can do
crazy.
it, but
For-
he's freaking awesome.
For weirdness and wellness, does that mean are you doing a lot of research on wellness and like?
Yeah,
learning?
I've thrown
And
myself
weirdness.
into this stuff and
Yeah.
like explored weirdness. I think again to my sort of origin story with this was just doing some breath work. I did some Wim Hof breath work in Hawaii, and then jumped into an ice bath after with my friend Kyborg, and it just changed me. I was
Kyborg.
just like, whoa, what the hell did you just
Yeah.
do? All we did
Just
was
fired up.
breathe and get cold, and I felt like I was levitating, and I was like, wow, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Pun intended,
Literally.
I guess.
Yeah.
But that's led into different, there's, again, the wellness, the aperture, if you open it up, can be so many things. It
Yeah.
can mean fitness, it can mean martial arts, it can mean therapy, psychotherapy, meditation, yoga. I mean, there's just endless modalities you can explore. And I just really wanted to, it came from a natural place for me where I did these things and I couldn't shut up about it. I was like, oh my gosh. Like we'd be at I remember we were in Cabo San Lucas for a surf industry thing, and we're at a dinner, and I was like, you guys want to go do some breath work real quick?
Yeah.
And I got like 10 of us to go up to my hotel room, and I led them in breath work. And I'm not like a certified breath work person,
Damn.
but
Yeah.
I just was so intrigued and so wanted to share it. And so
Wow.
this has been sort of a passion project of mine for a while. And I just finally, when I left Igloo, I was like, I just got to do this. I don't want to be on my deathbed wondering what if.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it may fail miserably, and it's a lot of work, and it's, all these, again, get out of your comfort zone. That's where the growth happens. But I'm out of my comfort zone, and it's scary just starting a business. And
Yeah.
I've been a part of a lot of businesses. I've sat at the table at Kleiner Perkins and listened to Jeff talk about, they're just handing him money when he's done talking because he's so good at it. And I just, I'm not necessarily good at that, but it's part of the process of, everything from doing the podcast and screwing
Yeah.
things up and developing the logo and all the trade, all the things. I just got to do it all myself right now.
Yeah.
I hope to get to a
Well,
point where I can hire other people and we can work on
Yeah.
it
I think
together.
you
Sure.
can. I mean, the whole wellness industry is totally trending, or it has been for a while.
Yeah.
I personally would love to talk to you about that, or hear your podcast, or listen to whatever you have
Yeah.
to say about it, because I have been super into cold plunging, and I also have been into breath work. I've been doing it, and you're right, it does make you feel like you're on cloud 9. Recently, I found out that if you cold plunge before working out, it can increase your testosterone levels, and I personally felt the difference of, like, I swear I felt it, and it was just like, wow. And now I do it every day,
Yeah.
and it feels
But
fucking
isn't that
awesome.
cool to kind of biohack yourself in
Yeah.
a certain way of like,
Yeah.
I've been experimenting with, I just got that sauna and experimenting with, is it better in the morning? Is it better at night? I definitely do the ice after the sauna, unless it's at night, because then I just am super tired.
Right.
But figuring all those things out, I do TRT, and it was like something else. So I was just very curious about it. And plant medicine, same thing. There's certain things. I was microdosing psilocybin for a while, just trying to sort of like experiment with my own sort of neuroplasticity in these things that traditional Western medicine it speaks to it, but it might not. You've got to go through a ton of rigorous like doctors and all this stuff to figure it out. And I didn't realize this. I guess I have ADHD. So I was experimenting with psilocybin microdosing to help me with that, and it did. It helped. I felt. And again, it's just trying these different things. I've always been pretty curious by nature. Some of the stuff sucks. Like I did combo. Have you heard of combo? It's a frog poison.
Whoa.
From a
that shit in the desert.
Well, there's different. There's like Bufo.
That pharmacopoeia thing. Did you watch that show?
Yeah.
I love that show. Hamilton.
That show. Yeah, Hamilton Morris.
Dude, he seems
There's
like
an
a legend.
amazing one where he goes and I forget the woman's name, but she was like this queen of LSD, and she had this whole crazy story of her with these like LSD manufacturers, and she was like this stripper, but she's like the nerdiest, just trippiest girl that you just wouldn't even think that she had this crazy backstory, like this LSD empire.
Yeah.
But he goes and interviews her, and she's this trippy artist. Anyway, combo. So it's basically this frog poison that they get from the skin of a frog. I forget the name of the frog, but it's a sort of a cleansing mechanism. You apply it to points, so they burn your skin.
Jesus.
Wow, this sounds wild.
Yeah.
Well, there's also it's kind of ceremonial, but there's a couple pre-ceremony things you do. You can do hape, which is a Amazonian snuff.
I've heard of that.
And then
Did you personally have this frog poison done to you?
A couple times.
Wow.
Again, that's kind of like I want to try these things and see if it.
Wait,
Give
what
it a
is
go.
I still don't know what it is.
Okay, so it's a frog poison that is. They do these points where they burn your skin and then they apply the poison or the, I guess,
So it gets in there
into the burn spot, and it's pretty crazy. It feels like it hits you almost immediately. Your head feels like it's swelling, like you've got like a crazy sinus infection. And
That sounds
your
horrible.
Heart rate increases. Your body feels really warm, and it's for about 20 minutes. You feel like you have the flu, and then you purge or vomit, and then they wipe it away, and you feel
great,
amazing.
Really?
Like just this clarity. Yeah, and
Who the fuck
detoxifies.
figured that
I
out?
was thinking the same thing. Like, who the fuck did that?
That is so wild.
It's probably that chick, the LSD chick, dude.
You know
who figured
what?
that out? Do you know any history on that?
On combo where it came from?
Yeah, like
thinking
why?
Native American.
Who figured that shit
It's
out?
a lot of it is indigenous South American.
It's like just
So they do this
we're
stuff
just gonna
called-
burn your back. It's okay.
So
Yeah, they
this
probably
stuff
did it.
Sananga, which is a really potent eye drop.
Okay.
Like it sucks. It's
Yeah.
so gnarly. You lean back and then they put a drop in like right here in your eye, and then you open your eyes, you flutter them, and then you shut your eyes, and it's like fucking glass and Tabasco.
What?
It hurts so
Why?
bad, but it's opens up your capillaries. I think it cleanses your vision, and they used to give it to hunters for night hunting because it would they'd be able to
Holy
see
shit,
better.
they get night vision?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's some
Does it make you
superhero
feel any
shit.
better, like bodily, or
Yeah, you have this amazing clarity and vision for. I feel like
you're not tripping?
weeks.
It's not.
No, it's
psychedelic.
nothing psychedelic. That's why, and all of these hape, Sananga combo aren't fun. They aren't.
Wow.
Like you don't get like a buzz.
Yeah.
I mean,
It sounds the opposite of fun. It
How
sounds
long?
shitty.
Well, you're saying the first one combo. How long does that like?
That just sounds
How
like
long
a
does that
drug
last?
combo.
I know. Did
You ever do combo
You
yet?
say you feel amazing after you did it.
after as soon as they wipe it off, as soon
And
as you
then
purge,
You purge.
you
and then
purge
you
this
feel
crazy
great.
yellow stuff,
Ugh.
and
And
then
then
they
what?
wipe it off, and you actually I laid there for about 15 or 20 minutes, just sort of recovering, I guess.
Yeah.
And you just feel like, I mean, part of it is like you went through this like sickness. You're like, oh, I'm so glad that's done. Like,
Oh my god.
Damn, where was this? In the desert?
No, it was in Utah. We went. There's probably
Of course, it's in Utah.
I know.
Yeah, we
They-
went
They're
with
like,
it.
it's only legal in Utah.
It's only legal.
No,
in
that would be
Utah.
the opposite. Utah's.
They're pretty strict.
No, they
Some
do like
parts-
weird stuff in Utah.
I feel
But
like
it's
Utah's
this woman.
extremes.
She administers it. She's like former Mormon. She's
Whoa.
super into plant medicine and all these different modalities. And
She went
in an
straight to
effort to
toads?
help people, like she's saw where it helps people. It helped her with her own sort of ailments,
Yeah.
and she just wanted, similar to my story,
Spread
I
the
guess,
toad.
like administer it or share about it to people, like you guys. So
Yeah.
when next time you hear about combo, you're like, whoa,
Oh,
I'm
man.
good.
I'm
I'm
nervous.
down. I'm intrigued.
do it?
Wait, I want to know about the after effects.
I don't know. The upside didn't seem worth the downside. On
Yeah,
that
well,
one.
no,
like
Still-
it's basically like coming off of a sickness. That's what I got so far.
Yeah, so you feel like you've got, I don't know, like the flu for about 20 minutes or so,
Yeah.
and then you
which
purge.
I can handle.
I can handle 20 minutes. Of
It
that.
just it doesn't. It's not that bad. It just sucks. It's not like
Are they
this
wearing like
feels
robes
great.
and shit?
No, you go shirtless.
You get paddled?
Wait,
No.
before we do
No paddle.
can we please hear about what happens after?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So
I'm trying to get the
after
scene
you
here.
lay there, they wipe it off. You feel this sort of elation of just, I mean, again, partly because you just went through this
Yeah.
terrible feeling, but you have this, I don't know what to call it, like a sense of clarity. Like
Okay.
just everything is feels enhanced.
Yeah.
You just feel more alive. You feel, and it does, it cleanses, like deep cleanse on your organs.
And that comes from the poison.
Yeah.
Is
and
it
like,
sounds-
and like purging the poison.
Yeah.
is it a healthy after effect?
Yeah.
So,
So, like,
Yeah.
it's not bad for you
it's
whatsoever.
beneficial for you. Like
Can you
that's
tell me-
why you do it.
Okay.
I
It's
don't know
not
if you would
to
know
get
this,
high.
but can you tell me the neurotic reasoning behind it?
The neurotic reason?
Or like the not neurotic, but the
Neurological
There we
impact?
go. Neurological. Yeah, not the neurotic.
I can't tell you scientifically or specifically what the I don't know, pathways are. I can tell you that you feel amazing afterwards, and I felt cleaner, like I'd just done a lot of deep work on myself.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
So the poison.
I will talk to my friend Julie about it and get some insight so you
Yeah.
can read out. And it's pretty prevalent. Like a lot of these practices or modalities are becoming more commonplace. Again, like
Yeah.
ayahuasca, we talked about that. It's like 5 years ago, you kind of heard a little bit about it and like, whoa, that's crazy. It's like this drug. Now it feels like, I mean, Will Smith,
Yeah, it's
he'd
like a-
been
He
on
does
Letterman,
ayahuasca?
talked
Oh,
about
interesting.
having done it 14 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
That was the burning
combo
bush.
is like the pinnacle of weirdness and wellness.
Yeah.
Is it?
That is the pinnacle.
To
That
you.
is so weird,
To you.
but it's also good for you. And I hope and pray that you make a show about like weirdness and wellness, because all of these things that we talked about.
Well, it's like Hamilton
watch.
Morris,
I
like that
know.
cornucopia. I love that
love
because
that
it's so
show.
interesting
I
how he
know.
delves into these things and he tries these things. And I'm
Yeah.
not
It's
necessarily
also a
saying,
scientist.
I
which
would
helps.
fully watch you going around and doing all this stuff and talking to Mattson about like cooking and
Yeah.
business, and then doing this weirdness and wellness.
Yeah, video would be good for
like,
that for sure.
combo.
I am
doing
intrigued
video?
by it. Yeah, I want.
That's cool.
And some things I'm very leery of. I don't want to just do everything just because it's weird. Like, but if it's beneficial, it's helpful. Like one
Yeah.
thing that I haven't done that I'm kind of nervous to do, but I'm very excited to do it at the same time is a Native American. What am I? Can't think of it. When they sit in
talking about
the
the
hot sweat lodge.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
the sweat lodge.
They have that Monument Valley. They're all up in there.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
want
an
to do it
overnight thing?
proper. There's different versions. I don't think it's overnight, but it is for an extended period of time, and you
I think
get
like
it's-
proper ones like 3 days.
Or that's when they
do
put
that.
you. I think that's a different.
that scares me
Yeah.
like that. I'm
I'm
like, ooh.
claustrophobic. That alone would get me.
Yeah.
'Cause sometimes I'm in my own sauna. I'm like, oh, this is hot. I got to step out for a second.
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
minutes in a sauna.
I do an hour.
An hour?
I do an hour, but mine
At what
doesn't get that
temp?
hot. It's like 160.
Yeah,
At the
that's
gym,
still-
it's like 180. I could do like a half an hour, and then I'm toast.
Toby,
literally.
my buddy who does a podcast, he gets it to 210.
That's epic. I would do that, but it would be short.
Yeah, 15
Cooking.
minutes.
Yeah,
That's a full
insane.
face
I'd be
melter.
down.
Yeah.
I could do hot more than I can do cold.
210 is.
I
wild.
love cold. I
It's
fucking
crazy that you
love
said you
it.
get more testosterone, but when you get cold, your balls shrink. How does
know,
that make
right?
sense?
Because all the testosterone goes into your body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Honestly, that might,
Dude,
might be true.
I'm telling you, you have to do it before you work out. It feels fucking good. It's insane.
I just
is that a
don't have one.
known thing that you
It's-
do it before you work out? Because everyone
not
does it
known.
after you work out.
It's not really known, but there's here I am. I'm
Yeah, it's
quoting
usually a
research,
recovery
quoting
thing,
research
right?
here.
Yeah.
There's a Japanese study from the 1990s that say that
Let's look that up.
working out after they basically did a cold exposure to their students, and the people that had cold exposure after a workout actually lost testosterone, and those that worked out or had cold exposure before a workout gained like an exponential amount of testosterone. And obviously testosterone is a heated subject, but if you're trying to get to the place where you're like building muscle and have that human growth hormone,
need it.
and it feels incredible, and can help you in so many different ways. For me personally, I did it And I was like, I'm not expecting anything. I just want to see what happens. Like, before I was doing it, I was cold plunging and immediately running to the hot shower. I was like, I'm cold as fuck. I got to go. I'm sure that wasn't healthy. I don't know how that shit works.
It's beneficial for your body to warm up naturally.
Naturally, exactly.
And you create
I heard that.
brown fat.
Exactly.
Organs, and it's very beneficial, and it increases your metabolism.
Right.
It's like better versus jumping into a hot tub or something, or taking a hot shower. But it sucks. But it's like, I've been like driving, like, oh God, I'm so cold.
Yeah.
Well, that's like cold showers are good for you too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
That's always that's like the entry point for a lot of people. They don't want to do a cold plunge. They'll do like a cold shower.
I take freezing cold showers.
If you take
It's
it
naturally warm.
So you could do cold shower. You can even cold exposure in like air temperatures. You can walk outside and just like stand outside in a cold temperature. We don't really have that cold of temperatures here where we are,
40.
but you know, it's all based off of what you personally can handle.
How much of a bitch you are, really.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, okay, so I listened to the Huberman podcast, and he basically had spelled this out. And the thing that I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna see what happens. And the first time I did it, I was like, oh, I have some extra energy and like I feel good. It's a little bit weird, like jumping out of the water and going to the gym like cold as fuck and like getting your clothes on and being cold. The second time I did it, I was so pumped up. I was so pumped up.
Working out with a heart on.
Dude, I was horny.
That's what I'm
as fuck,
picturing right
too.
now.
Balls.
Dude, it was crazy.
All dick, no balls.
Yeah, it was wild. And every single time I've done it since, my days have just been so much better.
Wow.
Rider,
It increases your dopamine by like 200%.
Yeah,
Dumps
my-
it in your system.
It's crazy. I'm just like every day I come to work, I'm like
200%.
I
You
feel
did seem
so
happier.
much.
It's like the
Holy
Viagra
crap.
commercials.
Yeah,
Since you started doing that.
It's crazy. I swear everyone needs to do it. It's the coolest feeling in the world. So
Sometimes it
We
sucks.
need one.
Like I'll get up in the morning and it's like cold out and I feel the water. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
and I'll like kind of
Yeah.
pace back and forth. I'm like, gosh, I just don't want to get in there. And then
Yeah.
you do, and you're like, and then you get out and you feel amazing.
Yeah.
Every time afterwards,
Every
it feels
time
amazing.
afterwards, yeah.
Like there's not been one time where I was like, oh, that sucked.
We need
that
one
feeling when
here.
you're like you have the towel and you're like patting yourself down,
it's
you
like-
can't even feel
It's
yourself.
like leather.
Yeah, you're
My
like,
skin
oh, I'm
is-
strong as fuck.
Is there a limit on how often you could do it? Like, can you do it 7 days a week and it's
Yeah.
good for you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure. There's, I wouldn't say a limit, but there is definitely diminishing returns. Like if you stay in too long.
Gotcha.
I think Rogan did 20 minutes the first time he got
Holy
his.
shit.
And that's not
And he
that's
realized it was
20
bad for
minutes?
him.
beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 minutes is sort of, they say 11 minutes a week. So whatever that is.
I do 5 minutes.
I would do a bunch of 30 seconds probably.
It's
at that
really
point.
funny because
Just a shit ton
I
of
hear
30
so
seconds.
much about saunas. Obviously, saunas are the
Yeah.
other huge thing, but it's the exact opposite. But they both have crazy benefits.
These are
so
like
wild,
tried
no,
and true practices
Yeah.
from probably like
Forever.
caveman days.
Yeah.
Russians. And again, my mom's side of the family was all Scandinavian living in Minnesota. That everyone had a sauna in
Yeah.
their basement. Like that was just standard. I didn't
Yeah.
really, at the time I was just a little kid, but and they go outside, they roll around in the snow and they go sit in their sauna.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
like a old school
Yeah.
Look
Scandinavian.
up this sauna. Just look
therapy.
up like a stat about health in sauna. It's a similar thing about the 11 minutes in a ice bath. It's like if you spend 20 minutes in a sauna 3 times a week, then
A massive increase
a
in
massive
health
increase in
benefit.
health benefits and
Yeah.
like long-term health.
So again to talk about tempo a little bit. That's why like this conversation we're having is so
Yeah.
intriguing and so like beneficial and
Yeah.
helpful and a lot of younger people aren't into this stuff. One, they think it's lame because it's what their parents are into or whatever. But
Yeah.
even like I wish I had known about this stuff when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, decreased risk
But you
for
know
heart
what?
disease
There's gonna
and
be
even
something
dementia.
that we don't know when we're older, and then we're just gonna be like, I wish I knew that.
It's probably phones.
There was a guy,
Yeah, it's probably-
a
Don't
buddy
be
of
on
mine
your
came
phone.
over and he said that the cardiovascular impact of sitting in a sauna for 20 minutes is like, it's like going running for 2 miles or something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're just sitting there. I had
Yeah.
no idea.
I'm down for that.
So yeah. So
But you
Just cheat.
You don't
love learning.
necessarily get like the muscle and stuff.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's cool.
But the pure cardiovascular, the blood pumping, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
This is fun to talk
I'm all
about.
about it.
It is.
No.
This is like the
That's
weirdness and
why
wellness podcast.
weirdness and wellness will work.
That's why
Yeah.
I hope,
Yeah.
I hope it
Everyone's
does.
interested. Literally, you can't not be interested in this. Like if you're,
Unless you're not used
in
to it.
shape,
Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to improve their health?
But
overweight,
there's
whatever.
like a world of it that can be off-putting, when
Yeah.
it's like too sciencey. I mean, Huberman is very sciencey, but it's kind of like I'm into it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Sometimes, it's like again, the wellness word is sometimes overused. There's
Right.
like kind of you can
think
be
in
a
the
little
yoga
too
world.
guru-y
Yeah.
or too yoga-y or
Yeah.
too like Burning Man, like that stuff. I don't know. It's for different people, but this was a version of it that I saw that I wanted to kind of help create. And It's
Yeah.
based on things that I was into, and
But the thing
clearly
is-
I think it speaks to us.
It's
So
it's there.
That stuff has been, and you're right. Whoa. That stuff has been totally, I guess, I'm trying to think of the right words. In the 90s, up in the early 2000s, all of this stuff was woo-woo, crazy stuff, like taboo stuff, and now it's like normal. You know, like it's.
Yeah, it's full brand.
I'm sure
yeah.
ice plunges, I'm sure saunas, I'm sure yoga, all of these things that like ayahuasca, all of these things have been super prevalent in different communities and people have been doing it for a long time. All of a sudden it's become a little bit more mainstream because it actually works.
And there's, I'm super intrigued by cults, like of the,
Yeah.
you know, like the Wild Wild Country documentary
Oh,
show.
wow. My great aunt was in that.
No way.
She went out from New York.
My
yeah.
buddy Sam,
she was
who's
an
doing
actress.
temple with me,
Was in it?
His mother was friends with a gal, the Indian woman. I forget her name. She was like
One of the
tight
higher
with
ups?
her. Yeah, like the one who basically
Gnarly.
went crazy.
Oh, wow.
But like, there's another. It's a really cool documentary. It's cool. I like it. It's
Yeah, that's
called The Source Family.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's from the 70s. It started as a vegan or vegetarian restaurant on Sunset, and
Sounds like the Yellow Deli. Same thing?
yeah, kind of a similar vibe, but it
Okay.
turned into this whole cult. And you know, they're all they always have like seemingly good principles going into it, but then the leader
Always
starts
turns into
sleeping
hooking
with
up
all the girls
every
and
time.
buying themselves
That's always
Bentleys.
how it
Every
goes.
time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild.
Gosh.
So if they
every
could just
time.
avoid that part and keep to the principles of, you know, why they started it. But
Power, man.
Are you vegan?
no, I
Okay.
was for a few years. My wife is, and
Nice.
my son is. But yeah, I just one day I was sort of was vegan for a few years, and then I was vegetarian, and then I started eating fish, and I just felt like I was missing something, and I started eating meat again, and it felt great.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And
I
I
feel like it
think-
really is per the person.
yep.
Different.
And there's a lot.
different
I was
things.
like really into when they came out originally, like the Beyond Beef and the Impossible Burgers, but they're so bad for you.
So
There's got
gross.
so many
Yeah.
preservatives.
I had a feeling. As soon as the fast food chains got behind it, I'm like, that's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
I think you're
That's
just
not
eating healthy for what you, you know, be conscious of what you eat, where it comes from, that sort of stuff. It doesn't have to be like, you know, super strict. But I don't know. It's just, as I get older, I care about what goes into my body more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't, but yeah, it's just being cognizant of that stuff. I think, again, what we talked about in the beginning is just like longevity and thinking of like how I just want to I want to be healthy into my older age.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to live forever. I don't want to be like, you know,
Yeah.
old
What
and
would be the
haggard.
oldest you'd want to be? Like 200?
No,
if you
gosh,
could?
no,
So old.
No?
I don't think so. I don't
Like, say
know.
you're right now, same health and
oh,
everything.
in my same capacity.
Same shit. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm saying more just time on Earth.
oh, time. Yeah, then that
like
changes.
200? Or are we talking like 1,000, like a
Well,
vampire?
I
No,
mean,
nobody really knows.
yeah, and
I feel like vampires
indefinite.
aren't that stoked. Like they're always
No.
kind
They
of
do
like,
seem bummed, but they always have
also
hot
kill
chicks.
people and suck blood.
Yeah,
Like,
but they always have the
they're like
hottest
terrible.
wives.
Yeah.
The
Every
movies.
vampire movie.
I mean, they've had a long time
Everyone.
to figure it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've had hundreds of them.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun to be immortal because you can still be killed by certain things.
Can you?
If you get in a car crash,
Wait, if you're immortal, you can. Does that mean you can't die?
Yeah, you can't die.
depending on the novel you're
Oh,
reading.
what movie? Yeah. I'm
Which
talking-
Marvel movie we're with?
Yeah, like I'm reading a book right now. It's
So you
pretty
would go
fantasy.
forever?
But
You're like
the
immortal, but you could literally just die anyway.
The elves in my book can live forever, but they can still be killed by like a knife.
Let's
or
go.
sword.
Let's just back up a second. The elves in my book.
Yeah.
What book are we reading?
Oh, I'm
he's-
too embarrassed by it.
He's deep in
Oh,
these
no.
books.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
honestly okay. I'm
He's
a little
turned into a
embarrassed.
sci-fi
you
guy,
reading?
which is cool. I like sci-fi.
Oh God.
He's elfish. He speaks elfish, actually. Do it.
Do well then, Robin.
That'd be so funny. With like
So-
subtitles underneath.
My friend, who's a very smart man, he went to MIT. He read these books in high school, and I never read them. They're called Aragon.
It's a movie.
The series of Aragons. And
Oh, it's like Lord of the
It's a
Rings.
movie.
It's
Yeah,
like
same
yeah,
shit.
but it's everyone.
More
Everyone
dragony.
I talked to about it's like I read that in high school, but they actually didn't because it's just like it's the author of this book.
They didn't really read it.
Yo,
The author. Well, I just don't expect they actually
crediting
did because everyone I've said that to. They're like, oh yeah, I read that in high school. I'm like, oh, did you really? And they say, like, no, I actually didn't. Anyways,
It's
the
a lot.
author of
Big
this
book.
book was 15, and he wrote.
Whoa.
He
15
wrote
at time of authorship.
at the time of authorship.
That's
and
crazy.
He has a full series, a 3-book series. Each book is 700 pages long. Wow. and
bet you
I'm
that
on my
kid's
third. I'm on the
autistic.
third book,
That's insane.
and they're so
honestly.
fucking well written. Like
I
he
have
has
15-year-old.
He has
That's
the
crazy.
vocabulary of like, he's a full on. I don't even know sage. What do you call this? Like he's just a beautiful
Savant.
writer.
Yeah,
Savant.
savant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful writer, and I've been enamored by it. And I've read.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's probably like younger than me.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, he was
yeah.
15. Fuck.
Yeah,
What's
so-
he look up
That
the
is
author
actually
of Aragon?
wild.
His name's Christopher. I don't remember his last name.
Wait, you're not even
What's his
reading that
elven
book,
name?
are you?
Aragon with the E. Wait, what's his
Yeah.
elfish name?
So his Elvish name, Christopher Polini.
Oh,
yeah.
My daughter's read these. She loves these books.
Yeah,
Oh,
these are
they're
classic.
insane.
tracks.
I think I
right?
have these at my house.
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
I might have to read them.
Yeah.
They're so good.
She's read them like 4 times.
Whoa,
yeah.
he is young.
Yeah.
The beard was good for him. That's a good move.
39.
That's a
Wait,
good move.
he looks like an actor.
Yeah, he does.
So
Wow.
the
he
book
dates a
I'm
lot of
on.
people.
I'm on book 3
Wait,
right now.
did he actually write it when he was 15, or were you just?
His first book for sure
39.
came out when he was 15, I think.
He's
10,
39 years old.
39.
Yeah. And it's just fucking mind blowing.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
I'm so
insane.
stoked. And now I have something to go talk to my daughter about it. huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to read it, man. Read it with your daughter. Have her reread it. It's so freaking good. And like you just, I mean, I started reading in December. I'm on book 3.
Okay.
So I'm,
Wow, you're
yeah,
into it.
I'm
I
into
think
it.
he was 18 when he wrote it.
What's the? You just do the math real quick.
Yeah,
Why?
He said he was 39, and the book came out in 2002.
Oh.
Is when it was
21 years
published.
ago. It
Though.
was 18.
Well,
it
he
was published.
was published. So.
I mean, either way, I'm just saying that's crazy.
okay, you can't write a book.
That's wild.
You can't write a book, you know,
A
within a year.
700-page
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
So he's
that's
probably
wild.
15 when he wrote it.
That kid probably did not have a good time in high school and middle school.
Right.
Is my guess.
Yeah. It's so.
But he's
awesome.
probably doing great now.
You know what though? Like,
probably
fuck it,
billionaire.
I had done that, and
I mean,
was
imagine
sitting
his
on-
house.
Yeah.
His
He
house is
started-
probably Dungeons
Started
and
writing
Dragons.
it when he was 15.
There you go.
He was 19 when he landed a major publishing
God,
deal.
imagine his house is
What-
probably
what's his
so
net worth?
sick.
I'm curious about that.
Well, they got movies. Got a movie deal. Okay, we should guess. I'm gonna guess.
So is this based
100
off of
million.
Lord of the Rings?
100 million?
It's probably way too high.
I'm gonna say 76 million.
Okay, so I'm not that far off.
I love that
25?
You guys have this
25.
stuff here. You
That's
could
so
look it up.
nice.
It's like Joe Rogan.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
nice. Well, otherwise we just say bullshit and we're like we can't check each other on it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. I'm
25
gonna,
million,
I'm
that's
try and
it.
incorporate this into my.
It's nice.
I do the podcast out of a converted school bus. It's a friend of mine who did a
Oh, dope.
podcast, and then when COVID hit, nobody wanted to get into a bus and do their podcast. So
What, just out of the air or something? Like
I just think
Close proximity?
COVID, yeah,
Ah.
6 foot distance.
yeah.
But he had a spot where there's like a thing where I could put a TV up and we could sit there and
That'd be
reference the
dope.
stuff. I just
Yeah.
I need a.
So
It helps so much.
are you shooting it in the Stance headquarters, or you
No,
work
it's-
out of there currently?
So it's the bus is parked up there. I actually
Okay.
just went and got it today because it had some electrical. I've done 3 episodes in it, and then it was undrivable. So now it's drivable. So now I'm going to go up to LA and do a bunch up there.
Wow, that's right.
And I've got a laundry list of people in Salt Lake City I want to do as well. So I'm probably not going to drive the bus out there. I don't think it would make it, but I'll go out and figure out a spot
Yeah.
at one of my friend's house and just create a little, not
Yeah, a
as
little zone.
awesome as this, but something, a little
Yeah.
studio.
That's amazing.
That's sick.
Oh, yeah.
Knock out as many as I can. And
Was the Maddie Mattson one pretty wild?
yeah, I mean, it was fun. It was just, you don't even need to ask him any questions. He just,
Yeah.
Just go.
I'm Kingman. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He just starts talking and it's hilarious. And he's
Have you
just,
published it yet?
no, I want to bank like 10 to 12 of them. So
Okay.
I don't have to
Yeah.
have this, because I want to do them on a
Smart.
weekly cadence. But we'll see. I mean, who knows? Maybe they don't even get launched. We'll see. We'll see.
Hopefully.
This could all be, I could just, fucking ask you guys for a job in a couple weeks. And be like, hey, can I work in the warehouse?
Yeah, right. We do need a warehouse guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, his.
Yeah,
I
Minimum
bring that
wage.
up because
Done?
his Joe Rogan episode was insane.
Yeah.
like I loved hearing that story.
Dude, some of those stories,
Yeah.
it's funny because I think he doesn't even, he just goes. He just says whatever. And he's so open book. Like there's nothing you can't talk about, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
Because he talks about his drug use and the heart attack and his kid. It's so fun. So he's kind of like there's no holds barred. He can just talk about anything.
Yeah.
And, I was asking him about his business and, sobriety and drug use and heart attacks and just, it's all over the place. But he's so animated and so fun to talk to. It's
Yeah.
just a very genuine conversation. And so he's buddies with my friend Scotty Stopnick. And Maddie's obsessed with choppers now. And so Scotty builds choppers and cycle zombies. And he's always hanging out. Whenever he comes to town, he's always hanging out at Scotty's. So I see him kind of often. And then he was working with Ruka for a little while doing stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I saw that.
I heard he's opening a restaurant in Costa Mesa somewhere.
Is it?
Whoa,
I
let's
know.
go.
I want to
Yeah.
try some of that.
Is Scotty who we met?
Scotty,
that?
is Scotty
Yeah, I think his
girlfriend,
brother.
Nikki Lane, or was
No,
it?
that's
split
Chase.
up.
That's his cousin.
Chase.
Well, they're not
They
dating
split
anymore.
up, actually.
Yeah, that was
They were engaged.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
We
wow,
actually
I
had
didn't know
we
that.
went during a stance trip. We brought Chase and Nikki
Oh,
for,
nice.
to Japan, and it was so fun.
She's so cool.
They were
She's
engaged, so he
yeah.
he proposed to her.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
I didn't know that.
And then
Wow.
They broke it off,
broke
and
it
then they
off.
started dating again, and they broke it off.
Wow.
They seem nice. I mean, he's
She's
cool,
the highway
dude.
queen.
Yeah, he's rad.
Yeah, and she's great.
She's awesome. She's
Yeah.
so like, yeah, it's just fun. We did this thing. We were in Japan on a train or whatever, and she just started walking down the aisles playing, and the Japanese people were just tripping.
Yeah,
They were
Yeah.
like,
sure.
What the fuck? She sounds great.
She's pretty tall,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's beautiful
Yeah.
sounding, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
then yeah, we had some fun times with Nikki Lane. We did like a sock with her. We participated in a concert in Luck, Texas, which is Willie
Yeah,
Luck
reunion.
Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in like a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
This
Oh,
year.
they still have it?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
still going.
It was so cool. I saw
Yeah.
Leon Bridges,
Yeah.
Charles Bradley, Nikki Lane, Willie Nelson. It was so fun.
That's a
just
good
being
lineup right there.
Oh, it was incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Do you go to any music festivals, like locally or anything like that?
I would. I haven't really. I mean, they used to do the one down in Dana Point. I've gone to that a couple times.
Yeah.
With the
Ohana?
Ohana Fest.
Yeah.
I love live music.
Yeah.
I freaking love it. It's just a lot of times there's a lot of work. You're just like, oh, I got to go up to LA and then stand around. And, I just
Yeah.
went and saw this band, Amel and the Sniffers. This girl, Amy L, is the singer. They're from Australia, like a punk rock kind of. They're super rad. They're fucking such a good show.
Damn.
Nice.
Yeah.
Animal and the Sniffers.
And this-
No, Amel, AMYL.
Oh, wow.
That's
Which
a
is
band
like-
too,
like
actually.
Animal-
Animal and the Sniffers.
Wait,
is a band.
what? They're
Kind of like Amyl Nitrate, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I think her name is Amy L.
Wow,
And
shit,
they
that's
put on
wild.
an incredible show. Yeah,
Wow.
she was rad.
Damn. That is a thumbnail right there.
Where'd you find them?
Somebody posted a video of them, and I just went down a rabbit hole, and
Yeah.
then I just got obsessed with.
Is this the one you went to at the forum?
No,
Oh.
it wasn't at the forum.
That's Melbourne.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Is it? Oh, shit. I thought that was like an LA thing. Oh, wow.
Whoa.
She's wild.
Sick.
Wow.
It was a cool show.
Is that a T-shirt or is that a skirt? I
don't know.
What do we got going on here?
Yeah, music is like a crazy
And
industry.
it's a shirt.
It really is.
Yeah.
I've been.
Leather pants.
I feel
That
like
guy's
I was
wearing
so just listening to the same stuff over and over again. I was like, I gotta find some new music, and then I tapped into sort of this genre of like newer hardcore, and so this band. I went and saw this band Scowl just recently, which is fucking crazy. This beautiful girl, her name's Kat, singing just like it's like this crazy hardcore. The band Turnstile is like obsessed with Turnstile for a while. I've seen them a number of times. An incredible live show. But I like all types of music. I'm not just
Yeah.
I don't know. I've freaking love live music. I like the classics. I've seen Fleetwood Mac a couple times. That was amazing.
She played last at the Ohana Fest.
Oh yeah, Stevie
Yeah.
Nicks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you there for that?
No, I didn't go. My wife really wanted to go, but
Yeah.
for some reason we couldn't go.
I watched it from the beach.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I watched it from the stands.
Oh yeah, you're in there.
I
Oh,
got- I
she's
got high
so
as
freaking.
shit.
I love
It was
Stevie
so
Nicks.
fun.
She's so cool.
She was cool. She was old.
Yeah, yeah, she's definitely
Older.
up there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
She was great. She was old.
Yeah. I mean, she was just telling stories, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but keep it going.
Yeah.
Have some fun up there.
have you seen the movie Studio City or Sound City?
Oh, the 55 thing?
No,
No.
it was, the singer of the Foo Fighters bought this old soundboard from a studio that had produced a ton of music back in the day, and then it fell on hard times. But it's the story of this mixing board. It's a great documentary, and he has different artists come and like re-record. Like he has John Lennon leaving from Fear, Stevie Nicks, Trent Reznor, and they create these new songs as well. But the story of all the records that have been produced on this board.
Oh wow.
Sound City or Studio City. Anyway, it's a really cool documentary.
That's
but getting old, it's funny. I'm becoming more like self-conscious about age lately as I get older. Because I came here and it's like all these fucking young dudes. I'm like, oh, this is sick. Like fucking. Oh man, I'm old.
Nah, not at all, dude.
But I'm young at heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no chance. There's no way that I would look at you and say you're old.
Oh man, I feel old.
I feel like old starts at like late 70s, maybe.
Yeah, honestly, I said Stevie Nicks is old. She's not that old.
She is but she's. I mean, her heyday was in the early 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but-
Like-
and she's still like
She also
she's
probably
still
had a
rocking and
wild
looks
time.
hot. I guess
She was wild.
And she still like has that like she's still hot. Like you know how old she is.
Damn.
She's still
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks.
There you go.
Like
Yeah.
it's still.
But like her stories were a little like I could tell you've done a ton of drugs and
She was
you're old.
notorious for
Oh,
like,
really?
her
She was a little
cocaine use.
fried, maybe?
Like
She's a little
wild.
fried. But it was like good for you. You're still fucking crushing.
Yeah.
The thing was, she was like, she kept like saying like, "I'm rich now." Like I used to be broke, but I'm rich now, and I'm like, and I
It was
just
like, great.
That's a random thing.
I don't know why
I
you
know.
kept saying, yeah. Why are you just telling us you're rich? Like,
We all kind of figured it, right?
yeah, like,
I hope you're rich.
Yeah,
You
you
should be.
we all know
If
you're
not,
rich. Yeah, but
something
like,
wrong.
I don't know. To me, that's a little weird. And that's
Yeah.
just one part of her.
That's her crowd work.
Yeah, I was like,
She's in Orange County.
you're-
She's like, everyone's rich. They'll get it.
Yeah,
I'm with
yeah.
you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like your whole thing is that you're a hippie, and now you're telling us you're rich. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Weird
but-
dynamic.
New era.
Yeah,
I also think it's really cool that you're getting so into wellness. Like you've had a long career, and I feel like after people have a really legit career, sometimes people just give up and like don't do something, and you've dove
like
into
over
wellness.
indexing on it, yeah.
and you're like
It's
going
like-
the opposite route. You're like,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I guess long a career as I've had, so to speak, being old. I don't know. Like how do I say this? I'd like to retire at some point, but I also never want to retire. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd ever
Busy.
want to not be like active and doing something.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons for Temple too, is I want to create something that's meaningful and beneficial that other people can come take over. Like I don't want to be like this leader. You know, I'm not doing it for the self accolade. It's to create a place and a movement for people that can participate, and then like it can live on well beyond me, I hope.
yeah, it's
And
epic.
it's really just a place to congregate, and there's the literal sense of a temple where places go, and then your body's a temple. But
so you're saying there will be literal places. To go.
He kind of leaked it a little bit. You leaked it.
but yeah, I
That's a yes.
I know.
We're
I
in.
need to
We're
know.
in.
know.
It sounds like
We'll
you're
buy
not allowed to
floor
talk
passes.
about it or something.
No,
Are you?
Well, I feel like I've
Right.
been talking about it too much, and I need to be about it. Like, and I listen to a podcast. I listened to a podcast. This guy Will X, and he was talking about. It was a quote from somebody else, but it takes the same amount of resource, be it energy, whatever, to talk about something as it does to actually do it.
Right.
And you get this dopamine hit from talking about it, and the same, like it's basically you get the same physical and emotional response from talking about it as you do from doing it. And I found that in myself, where I'm like talked about it, whatever, we do this podcast and I talk about it, I'm like, oh, I kind of like, did some work today. Like, but it didn't really do anything. I just talked about it. And so I'm trying to become more conscious of not talking too much about it and just doing it, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make it fucking happen.
Is that the logo?
Yep.
That's it.
Oh, here we
I
go.
really
We're
love
unveiling
Temple.
more.
Yeah,
and more.
all right. That's sick. I'll be client number one. I swear to God, please do it in Cinco Many.
Not if I'm first.
I can't believe now we're talking. My mind was racing earlier about like, oh, this is gonna be a show. It's talking about a podcast.
There's a lot of, it's
And now-
multifaceted.
Now that I'm hearing this,
Well,
we're
it's
gonna be
one of the
going to
challenges
Temple.
is there's so many components of it. It's like the podcast, the product, the place. It's like all these things. I'm like, okay, focus. And I'm not a great focuser.
Yeah.
Like that's one of my kryptonites is not, or whatever. I just can't focus very well. So
I want to walk in and I get a blast of timber in the face. Or just like,
I want someone to burn me and put some dead toad on my
yeah, and
back.
I'm just like,
poison me.
Poison
Will
me.
you please
please.
poison me?
It's kind of dark in there, and you're like, I don't know where I'm going, and then it's like all of a sudden just fucking like
Boom,
sick
burn.
music, and you're just like, I'm gonna go lift right now.
Oh.
But no, before you lift, you got to ice plunge because you're gonna
Here
get
you go, bitch.
testosterone up, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
and then
go.
they slap you.
And then you're,
Yeah.
and that's you. temple.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I was going with this whole thing.
And then
Though,
a
is
nice
like
cold towel.
not retiring is, I want to do something that if I'm into it, I want to do it till the day I die. I guess. You know,
Yeah.
like, but I don't know.
At 200.
Socks or coolers or tech. That doesn't appeal to that same kind of work. You know.
Totally.
So, but doing something that is a self-investment or helping other people, like that feels like not even work. It feels just doing stuff to help people is rad.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
that sounds ideological, but that's kind of how I view it. Is like I want to create a job or a profession for myself that isn't even. I mean, it's going to be a lot of hard work. That's true. That's fact. But if it's the work that you're doing that feels like it's helping other people, it's helping myself, then it doesn't feel like as worky. as
Yeah,
it,
you're building your
blurs
own
the
lifestyle,
lines.
basically.
Yeah.
There's the lines.
That sounds like the perfect way to end it, honestly. I feel like that's the move.
Perfect.
And
That was a great message. It's-
oh God,
an
talking
hour
about the
45.
podcast.
What were you thinking? Like your life?
He
didn't die.
He did.
It's a perfect way for you to end
He
it.
did say I don't want to end my life.
Please take the punch at the door.
My God.
No, I'm serious. We're just ending. That's a great positive message, Matt.
How long did we go?
Hour 45. We got a little timer on the right.
Oh yeah, cool.
So we got enough. Dylan could cut some down.
No,
He'll have his work cut
Keeping
out.
it all.
was
sorry I
great.
talked so much.
No, that was great.
Gosh, that was amazing.
That's a good sign.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that we would dive into so many different lifestyles, really, of like all these different.
You never know where we're gonna
apparel,
go.
brand,
Yeah.
and wellness, and
Yeah.
The fact that we went to
Combo.
145 means that we were just totally
Yeah.
Wrapping.
intrigued.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah,
It's been
thank
fun.
you.
This is I love this. Again, this is why the podcast is fun to do. You just have
Yeah,
good
it's a blast.
conversations. and
Absolutely.
learn about frog poison.
Yeah,
I learned
Smith.
a lot on this one.
we got to do it again.
That was awesome.
We got to dive deeper next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Once the temple's up and running,
Yeah.
we'll do a
Hell
reboot.
yeah.
There we go.